Most people think medical shortages are a future problem, something dramatic, something distant. But the people stockpiling medical supplies aren't reacting to fear. They're reacting to patterns most people don't notice. At first glance, stockpiling looks extreme. Cabinets filled with bandages, painkillers, antibiotics, supplies most households barely think about. The common assumption is simple: if something goes wrong, you go to a doctor. If it's serious, you go to a hospital. That system feels permanent. But permanence is an illusion created by long periods of stability. When you talk to people who prepare medically, a pattern emerges. Many of them didn't start because of a single event. They started after noticing how often the system fails in small, quiet ways. A prescription delayed. A medication suddenly unavailable. A blackout that lasts longer than expected. A hospital overwhelmed during flu season. Individually, these moments feel manageable. Together, they point to something deeper. People try logical solutions first. They trust supply chains. They assume shortages are temporary. They believe alternatives will appear. And for a while, that works. Until it doesn't. In places where infrastructure weakens, the change isn't sudden. It's gradual. Pharmacies run out of basics. Electricity becomes unreliable. Refrigeration becomes uncertain. Medical care doesn't disappear, it becomes inconsistent. That inconsistency is what scares people the most. The frustration builds when people realize that most medical emergencies don't start as emergencies. They start as small, manageable problems. A cut that gets infected. A fever that won't break. Chest discomfort that's easy to dismiss. A medication that runs out at the wrong time. In stable systems, delays are annoying. In unstable systems, delays change outcomes. This is where the visible explanation breaks down. From the outside, stockpiling looks like hoarding. But the real motivation isn't quantity. It's timing. The hidden structural issue isn't access to medicine. It's access at the exact moment it's needed. Hospitals are designed for volume, not continuity. Pharmacies are optimized for efficiency, not resilience. Supply chains are global, fragile, and tightly synchronized. When one link breaks, alternatives don't appear instantly. The real issue isn't panic. It's dependency. People who stockpile aren't trying to replace doctors. They're trying to buy time. Time to recognize symptoms. Time to decide whether something is serious. Time to avoid making irreversible mistakes under pressure. In places that experienced long-term blackouts or economic collapse, doctors noticed something counterintuitive. The biggest medical damage didn't come from rare disasters. It came from everyday conditions handled too late. Expired medications became normal. Improvised refrigeration became necessary. Old protocols resurfaced because modern tools weren't always available. What surprised many doctors wasn't that people improvised. It was how effective simple, well-understood actions could be when applied early. That realization changes perspective. Medical stockpiling isn't about preparing for the end of the world. It's about preparing for the gap between something feels wrong and professional help arrives. When that gap is small, preparation feels unnecessary. When that gap grows, preparation becomes the difference between options and regret. This reframes responsibility. It's not about distrust in medicine. It's about understanding how medicine actually functions under stress. Doctors make decisions based on probabilities, timelines, and available tools. When those tools disappear, decision-making doesn't stop. It adapts. Stockpiling is one form of adaptation. Not to treat everything at home, but to avoid being helpless during the most critical window. There's no checklist that guarantees safety. There's no promise that preparation removes risk. But understanding why people prepare medically reveals something important. They're responding to structure, not headlines. They're noticing how fragile convenience really is. And once you see that, it's hard to unsee it. If you want a deeper, structured breakdown of how doctors think about medical decisions when systems fail and how ordinary people can understand those decisions, there's a practical guide linked in the description. If this way of thinking was useful, consider subscribing. Clarity beats panic every time.